Welcome. I'm Nora Shabazi, and I'm really thrilled to be hosting this gathering here featuring The Truth About Reading director and producer Nick Nanton, which we're very excited to hear about. Nick asked me to share a little bit about the backstory that led to this project before I introduce him. So to do that, first of all, The Truth About Reading is presented by Nick's DNA Films, as well as the John Corcoran Foundation. And John Corcoran is the author of The Teacher Who Couldn't Read. If you haven't read the book, I highly recommend it. And he and I connected via a 3.5-hour telephone call back in 2008. And both of us are tremendously passionate about high-level literacy for all. And we have worked together informally and unofficially ever since 2008. And, we share that passion and that desire to do whatever we can to move the needle with literacy. So about 2 years ago, John invited me to go to a Jack Canfield retreat in Santa Barbara at Jack's house for about a dozen people. And so 2 days before the retreat was to start, a 3-day retreat, the country closed down with COVID. So we didn't go. And we attended that retreat in September virtually for 3 days. And in that retreat, Jack and his team give feedback and advice to the attendees about projects they're working on and that type of thing. So John and I, one of the
Pause, Nora. I muted you accidentally. Will you unmute yourself? Sorry about that. Sorry.
Oh, where was I at, Shannon, when you did that?
John invited for feedback.
Yep.
Or Jack did, sorry.
Okay, all right. So Jack and his team offered, they would give us feedback on projects that we were interested in pursuing. And one was a motion picture movie on John's film, or on a film for John, about John's story. And they said, well, that's interesting, but what we really think you should do is a documentary on literacy, and we have just the person to do it. And they gave us contact information for Nick. And so a couple of days after we did the retreat, I wrote an email, and John sent it to Nick along with a video about his story. And Nick sent back and said, well, I'm going to tell you exactly what he said. So I printed it out here. He said, I looked at the video and you do have a great story. I'm trying to think of how I would tie it into a bigger story on the fact that there is still a lot of kids getting left behind, and we need to know how to identify the root issue, etc. And we're like, okay. So 1 hour and 53 minutes later, John sent back a 4-paragraph response to Nick. And 9 days later, we were on a Zoom call about how do we move forward to pursue this project. So it was very, organic in how it happened, and also very exciting, of course. So to tell you, Nick knows he is going to be able to take the story from there. But to tell you a little bit about Nick, I had to print this out because I could spend the whole hour talking about accolades for Nick, which he would not appreciate. He's very humble and doesn't really like that stuff. But I do have a page here. So Nick, you're going to have to be patient with me. So one thing I've learned from getting to know Nick and actually being around him with filming and all is he has more hours in the day than the rest of us. So that's not very fair, but he somehow does. Nick has directed and produced more than 60 documentaries. He has received 22 Emmy Awards and more than 40 Telly Awards. Nick has a law degree, has written and composed countless songs, and he has multiple gold records as counsel for recording artists. He has a series on Amazon Prime called In Case You Didn't Know, so check that out if you haven't done that. And I also highly recommend the first of his documentaries I ever saw, which is called Operation Toussaint, and that's also on Amazon Prime. Highly recommend that. Nick was recently nominated for an Ellis Island Medal of Honor Award, the highest award there is for immigrants. I have 4 pages, they're right here, 4 pages of stuff about that, which would, again, take up the whole hour. So we'll include that link in the comments so you can read all of the amazing stuff about Nick and his work. And while Nick has all these prestigious awards and accomplishments, he's a phenomenal storyteller. I could, again, go on and on, but what I respect most about him is how he conducts his life. Nick is a role model of how to live. And he's an inspiration and also my mentor, actually. From being around him, I'm a better person, even just being in his presence. Nick has the highest level of integrity, authenticity, compassion, respectful interaction with people. He is the epitome of what a person should be and could be. And I can't say enough about him. He also figures out how to run 5 miles a day, prioritizes family, talks to his wife several times a day, answers a text within like 30 seconds, pretty much, it seems. I need to follow him around for 24 hours a day to see how the heck does this actually work and how do you accomplish all that. But he is pretty amazing. And it's really a gift to all of us here to be here with him as he explains about what's going on with this documentary. So Nick, I'll let you take it away.
Well, the best thing I can do
Let me say
there-
one other thing. Please tell us in the comments where you're from, if you would. And also any questions you have, share those in the comments and we'll feed them to Nick, as well as he'll answer questions at the end. Sorry, Nick, now go.
All good. Well, I'm blushing and I appreciate your very kind words. And the best thing I could do to follow that would be to shut up. But unfortunately, I'm instructed here to share a little bit more with about what we're doing. And I'm super excited about this project because look, at the end of the day, I'm passionate about this generation, the next generation. And I really never thought about the generations essentially that were left behind, particularly with this issue, John being a great example of that. And so I would just tell you from the very beginning, I know there's these reading wars. I've now learned this, which seems ridiculous, but there are. And there's these camps and all this stuff. And I literally do not have a horse in that race. I don't have a dog in that hunt. I'm really disinterested in it, quite frankly. What I am interested in is a couple things. Number one, how do we remove the shame and help the other Johns out there realize it is not too late and they have a chance at a new life? Fascinated by just seeing our friend David go through a week of instruction and lose 20 years off of his face by removing the weight of his world of just not being able to read well. I just never would have imagined that. That's one. And number two, for children to understand it's not their fault, teachers to understand it's not their fault, and for parents to understand that if what is being taught at school is not working, there's another way. There are other ways this can happen. And I'm really passionate about it not just being for rich white kids, because they tend to have more privilege and find their way to these private tutors. And it's a basic civil right, as I have learned from my friend John Corcoran and from you, Nora, as well. And so just so everybody knows, I certainly am given many of my interviews from Nora and John, but I am in no way trying to push their agenda. It's just not, I agreed with them at the beginning. That was not what I do. I've certainly seen, I think many of their points of view are very accurate, and certainly have interviewed many people who agree with their points of view. But I always ask, Nora will tell you, it's like, well, let me talk to somebody who disagrees. And let me talk to a superintendent of a school who says, I'm trying my best. We just can't change everything. Like, if this was simple, it wouldn't be an issue. So we can all just agree it's not simple. So for me, the agenda that I am pushing is those things I talked about: getting rid of the fear, getting rid of the shame, knowing there's another way, knowing it's not too late, and how do we make it accessible to everybody? And so, it would be interesting to see, by the way, because there have been pocketed experiments, one classroom, one school, whatever. But, I don't even know if we took the top reading instruction in the world and put it and gave that to 100% of people, would that work for 100% of people? I don't think any of us even really know that answer. So I want to be responsible with the messages that we promote. I want to promote logical and scientifically the best we can backed and experience-backed opinions. And we are not going to solve this problem with one documentary, as much as I hate to say that. I mean, it's like, I do a lot of work in human trafficking, right? And human trafficking, like, I don't know how you ever solve that problem fully, because it really is just the highest form of bullying that exists in the world. But we can, like, for me, if we do all this work, and I hope it doesn't just reach one kid, and it won't, but if I could give one more parent or one more adult hope, totally worth it. Like, it gave life to people. So when I first posted about that I was going to be directing this documentary, a family member of mine posted on the comments, wow, Nick, people are really going to come after you for that. There's a lot of people who are not going to like you doing that. And I said, if I approached it with hatred and vitriol and blame, I would expect that. But instead, if I just approach it with, hey, I think we can do better, and here's some solutions, here's some answers, here's some things we might consider, I think I'll have less of that. Now, we are definitely seeing some quasi-personal attacks, not yet on me, but on, on Nora, on John, and some others. And so, by the way, when I saw those blog posts, I don't know if you've seen them or not, but I called Nora and said, this is great. The people who took the time to read this and they outlined their argument about our argument, we've only put out 3.5 minutes so far. They've just shared with us exactly what we need to investigate and share so that this message doesn't get written off yet one more time. And anybody who is a strong dissenter of any of the opinions we've expressed thus far, again, in 3.5 minutes of a 75 to 90-minute movie that could be a 10-part series, as you all know. If they're that strongly opinionated about it, I'd love to interview them. Come talk to me. This is not a setup. This is not 60 minutes. Tell me what I've got wrong, because my only goal in all of this is to help people. And I am learning as I go. I don't read a bunch before I start. I trust the people around me to give me experts, and I look for other dissenting opinions, and I learn as I go. I'm fascinated to learn, hey, what works, what doesn't work. And certainly many people have anecdotal evidence for what works, and that's great. But I've got an interview I'm working on getting with a very high level Stanford brain scientist. We've been to Harvard. We've talked to academics, and we've talked to parents who are literally just trying to get their kid to the next grade. And I think it's so important that we do all of that. So that's sort of just my mission behind the film. If anyone was wondering my agenda, it's that. So I don't think it's much of an agenda. And so, here we are trying to tell the story. We are trying to raise money to do it. These things are expensive. I do make a living and fund a company and other people's livings doing these things. So I don't want you to think it's I don't always raise the amount of money I want. We often spend more than we were supposed to. It's all about a product that will make me and everyone else involved proud. And it's all about something that will make a difference in the world the best we think. But, I want everything to be out in the open. I have to feed my family and do other things like that. So it's a career for me. Right. But more often than not, we end up on crappy flights. We try to eat well, but sometimes not always in the best areas of town or the best areas of the world. And we do the best we can to honor the story. So as long as everybody's good with that, we'll be friends. So other than that, I'm here to answer questions. Nora, I know, well, first of all, we need donations. I can walk through any level you want me to. We'll take $1, we'll take $10, we'll take $100,000. We need another several $100,000. I don't keep track of the money daily, but we have slated interviews and offers to interview people that I'd love to interview, but we just don't have budget to get to all 75 states that Nora wants me to get to. That's what it feels like. There's just this never ending interview list, which is great. But we're also trying to be cognizant of every interview we add in takes away time from someone else. So how do we create depth and breadth, which is a constant push and a pull, and that's my job. But we're being smart and trying to think about that. So we do have a question here. What fundraising efforts currently exist? From Kristen. We do have thetruthaboutreading.com where you can go make any donation. We do have some different people who have posted the trailer. We've done different podcasts and others trying to get people to donate. I know there is a t-shirt fundraiser if you want to get a Truth About Reading t-shirt. And by the way, we are seeking the truth. That's literally all I'm after here, not an agenda. I'm seeking the truth, like what will help more people. And then beyond that, certainly there's ways that you could host a fundraiser on Facebook. Makes it super easy because John Corcoran has a nonprofit. You can host your own fundraiser. And then also we are seeking executive producers on the film. It's a $25,000 commitment. It can be spread into payments. We don't have to have it all today. We just have to have it all. But there's benefits of doing that, getting to come to some different events and filming and things like that. So there's sort of a broad range of fundraising options. Nora, what did I forget, or what should I go deeper into depth in?
I think that you've got pretty much them. I know that Donna from the Science of Reading page did a fundraiser through Facebook that was like over $2,000 that she raised from that type of thing. So we're open to creative stuff. I think that Nick, talking about, the executive producer level, And as far as what that includes, we had one at the very beginning. I see that they're on here, and that helped get us going. And we've had some others, and maybe talking about that and what that looks like, and if anybody knows people or organizations or whatever that might want to do that, and what that entails.
Absolutely. So yeah, so it is obviously, we understand, look, it's not for everybody. By the way, it is in many cases for more people than you'd think. When we do, I've broken it down into 12 payments for people. We've done all sorts of things to make it affordable. What it really does is it allows people to get their involvement with the film. And of course, we'll find a way to thank everybody who donates, that we know their name in the credits or something. Just, hey, special thanks to, and it'll be but executive producer level is a much more involved level of the film. We don't allow editorial involvement for donations. That's not a thing we sell. We don't do product placement. Although if someone wanted to pay me to put like a certain type of beer or something in it, I'd do it. I mean, it wouldn't conflict with the message. But really, we're just, we are getting some money from a big corporation, by the way, which is great, a little bit, not a ton, but with no strings attached, which is the way this works. If you want a specific agenda pushed, I won't take it, because that's just not what I do. And so executive producer would allow you to come to our principal filming in January in San Diego with John, with the San Diego Council on Literacy. We actually did partner with the John Corcoran Foundation and the San Diego Council on Literacy, and everybody who is donating at this level to the movie, really helping us. Everyone is important, but these bigger donations, obviously, they get us across the finish line. Is getting an award from the San Diego Council on Literacy, a medal, as well, in conjunction with the John Corcoran Foundation. They'll again be able to sit in on some filming. They will be able to. We're going to do a book giveaway to some underprivileged kids in San Diego. They'll be able to attend the premiere. They'll be listed on the movie poster. They'll be listed in the main credits. And there's some additional benefits of like a custom movie poster that says from Emmy Award-winning director Nick Nanton and executive producer, Jane Smith or whatever it is. There's a custom version of the movie trailer. There's a bunch, like, we try to make it really valuable to you for stepping up and helping us. It's not an investment in the film. You don't get a return. Like, it's not I'm going to invest 25,000. I hope to get back 50,000. It's a contribution. Most everyone can write it off. I haven't really found any scenario, especially since it's going to a nonprofit. You're paying it to the John Corcoran Foundation. And some people will partner up with 5 friends and put 5,000 a piece. Like, we're willing, trust me, we're willing to figure out ways to cobble it together with you. But that's really what we would like. If someone has a $10,000 donation or some other lower number, but still substantial, we could probably find some additional benefits as well. We're really just trying to do whatever we can do to honor those who are helping us. And then of course we need some bigger sums of money. And so we are willing to make it, to add some experiences and things that cost us money too, by the way, to do them. But we'll do that when people are willing to step up and donate $25,000. I believe, there's the donor perks have been put in the chat. If you want to download now, because that will go away once this is over. The website's in the chat, the donate links in the chat. So a great job, all those things being put in there. But if you have additional questions, I'm happy to answer them about the donations. I'm happy to talk about the film. The film is a moving target. We know we're having a baby. We have no idea what that baby looks like yet. We got an ultrasound when we did that little 4-minute trailer, if you will. And then what is the real thing? As anyone who's had a child, I have 3, thankfully. It's a different beast once you're done. So I'll answer the questions to the best of my ability. What will the final film look like? I don't know. That's part of the fun of the adventure. But that's what it's about. And so, Nora, what else could I say about fundraising?
We have a couple of things here. First of all, you've been invited to go film in Puerto Rico. So I know your answer to that. Get the funding, we'll go to Puerto Rico. Yeah. But also people want to know the timeline. Like, is this film ready? Is this, can you talk a little bit to the, behind the scenes, sure, what's going on with that?
We're filming now. Because of some commitments I've made to some other people, my expectation is we will do a private premiere in Hollywood, September of 2022, at my big summit we do once a year. So it will be ready by September 2022 for a private premiere, and then we'll probably go to film festivals, hopefully before that. But my guess is we will film into about May, maybe June, and we'll get into editing. A film like this takes about 16 weeks of 10-hour days, 6 days a week to edit. So it's not a small task. But yeah, so it will be late next year, sort of fall 2022. We'll begin, we'll have it done is my plan. And then we'll roll into film festivals and other things like that, because I have skipped those in the past. And I'm now under the impression that it hurt me with some of the exposure of the film. I may learn that I was wrong about that too. So we'll keep moving, but we're testing some film festivals and other things right now. I do believe that probably will be the route. So if that was true, it would probably submitting in the summer, hopefully, some film festivals into fall, winter, and maybe early spring, and then mass available, hopefully spring of 2023, which sounds like a long time, but we are getting a lot of press and attention and other things as we go. So we're not wasting any time, and we are getting the message out as we go. So that's part of the additional messaging we're doing.
One other question too, Nick, as far as, and we've been getting this a lot, private showings, what does that look like and how can people do that?
So that's a great question as well. I don't know yet. It will really be based on what film festivals we get into and which of them require the first ever showing in a state or a region or in the nation, or not. And so it also will depend on what our financial situation is in the end. Let's just say we got to front a bunch of money to try to get it done, but we get it done. We may have to charge for tickets, or we may use it as a fundraiser, or we may use it to help buy new books for districts. So I don't know, but I would say, Nora, where do you want them to go, or email? Like, we'll keep a list of everybody's info who wants to do a screening. Like, we want you to do screenings. We want help getting the word out. We won't leave any stone unturned as far as doing community screenings. And even when we put it on a big platform, hopefully Netflix and Amazon, iTunes, or many big platforms, really what gets people to see it is going to be people in communities hosting it and talking about it.
Yeah, on the truthaboutreading.com on the website, there's a contact us form, and we have, we get it from there. Some of our list, people from, they come from social media stuff, and then I contact them. But we have about 40 people that are interested in that so far. So yeah,
Awesome.
just go to the contact form on there. Somebody asked too, and I don't know this, but we'll check into it. The Literacy and Justice for All, there's t-shirts. And when is that? Can that campaign be redone? So I know you don't know about that, Nick, but I just wanted to say to Stephanie, I got that question and we'll check into that for sure.
Love it.
And I think, Nick, too, interesting thing that has come up that I've been asked about is like, who makes the money when the film goes out? And there's not any money to be made. Am I right with that? I don't.
Yeah. So at this point, no. What typically happens and what I would expect we'll do here, it really depends on if we have to partner with someone to distribute it, let's say, and someone has to spend money to promote it, then those people would get their money back first. So there's obviously a marketing and promotion budget that we haven't even addressed yet. Hopefully Grassroots will cover a lot of it. In this case, we haven't just, if it is a unicorn and it really does make money, we haven't discussed where it would go. My plan would be, obviously John and Nora, you guys stepped up and brought this to the table. I would imagine what we would decide to do would be to distribute those funds to some various number of organizations that we think deserve it. Right? Typically the director gets a royalty if it does well. We haven't discussed that. We can figure that out. But so great question. I hope there is money to be made, and I hope we can share it around. I mean, that would be really the goal. And no one is in this industry to get rich, just so you know. So.
Yeah, I didn't know the answer to that. So thank you for that. And what other questions? You can unmute yourself or you can ask a question in the chat. What would you, now that you have Nick's undivided attention, what is your burning question that you would like to know? And he would love to answer. I'm trying to think, Nick, of what else. Sharing the teaser for sure. Sharing the podcast that we've been on. Those are really good. Those are also on the Truth About Reading website. That we have those kind of conversations that go deep, but they're fairly casual. That give a lot of information that is not typically formal. Oops, there's
Yep.
somebody.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. What response has there, we got some questions here. What response has there been so far from the media?
I mean, we've gotten social media coverage mostly. We will, at some point, as the film is coming out, we'll go for more as festivals and things where people can actually see the film. We'll more likely go for some local coverages and ideally some national coverage as the film starts to spread. So we haven't really pushed it out to a lot of media because we're still
Oh,
shaping
this
the message.
they clarified here. Sorry, Kristen. Sorry, I meant coverage. What do you still need to film?
Well, that was the second question. What type of coverage do you still need between now and end
Oh,
of
okay.
filming?
I see.
So there you go.
Yeah, you're seeing those two. I should let you read the questions.
No, it's all good. Well, so Kristen said, sorry, I meant coverage as in what do you still need to film? You mean subject matter or monetarily? I think we probably covered the monetarily pretty well. So do you mean subject matter? Is that what you're talking about, Kristen? Subjects. I'll let Nora cover that. I think we got a list I can't keep up with on the subjects. So Nora, why don't you cover that?
Yeah, the subjects are going, this is an octopus that even with my awareness of the literacy situation for the last 25 years, the subject matter continues to go wide and far and deep. And every time I bring it up to Nick, he's like, well, if we have funding, we can go. He has a series, can we make this a series? If we have funding, we can do those types of things. So right now, as far as subjects, looking at reading being instruction in school, we have administrators and all who have had 100% proficiency, even for special ed kids, going to be interviewed. We have, we have people from a bunch of different angles, from spelling even, and all kinds of different things to educate Nick on, because what all of these people are to educate him, diversity. What is the difference with our kids who are inner city kids and disadvantaged kids, and then kids who are in the more advantaged places, parents who are doing advocating. We have jails if we would want to go there, as far as people who have been in jail and couldn't read, and they were in jail because they couldn't read, they went back to jail, and then they've improved. So the amount of subjects are endless, and so that's Nick's job to figure out where do we go. We have a lot of adults, obviously millions, tens of millions of adults in our country who are illiterate or subliterate, and where to go with that. So the tentacles of this continue to, their new ones seem to grow every week with people contacting us. And, we look into all of the things, and we have a huge list that we put them all on. And then Nick and the story producer are like, okay, where do we need to go for the best educate, awareness as well as action for the end result. And as Nick said, it's continuing to evolve. It's not like, oh, this is what we're going for, and he's looking for these things. Nick he's a storyteller, but he's also very curious about getting in, what's the story? What's the information here? And like, wait a minute, you said this, but they said that. And then his back people that do all this magical stuff, they go and research and find out more. I find more people, he interviews more people. The list could be forever. So there has to be, obviously you can't cover all of them in this documentary, but that's Nick's job to figure out which ones, and the story producer Katie, to figure out where that goes.
And then we'll turn it over to the editor in the end, and the editor will pick what makes the best story and how does it all work together. And that's, again, all part of the magic. Good question.
Yeah.
So I will say this, Kristen, I don't feel like we have many gaps right now. We have a long list. As I interview those people, it becomes more apparent on, what might we need to get a second opinion on this or another side of this or whatever. I think we were light on people of color, I would say, on the first trailer and the first, rounds of filming we got. We are, not that we weren't trying, we're definitely doing a better job of who we have now lined up, because it just was timing and what we could get. So we certainly are aware of that. And so, yeah, I think we're, if I could really get somebody, I would say one gap if I could get somebody who'd be willing to sit down and talk with me, who completely vehemently disagrees with why we need to change the reading that's in the schools right now, that would be a great interview, because I wouldn't attack them. I would just try to figure out why do they think so? Like, when everything seems to point in another direction, why do they think that? I have a funny feeling, but I don't want to say no on my own. I have a funny feeling that most people in that position would feel like they would be being trapped, whether they felt like they had a leg to stand on or not. But I'd love to talk to them, and I wouldn't trap anybody. I just want another opinion. I'd love to find out what does that mean? So.
Yeah, Lucy Calkins is, we're trying to get a lot of these people. We've invited several of them and they've refused to talk, and Nick has emailed them personally. We're working for sure on that. And I do want to say, as far as the people of color, we do have a lot of that, and a lot of diversity. Our scheduling from the beginning, I mean, we're not, I don't know if we're a third of the way through interviews, or it depends again on the whole funding thing, but a lot with the scheduling, the timing, and the locations, as far as with the people of diversity for the teaser that we needed to get out to help promote, to get the documentary. Those people just were not, it didn't work with the scheduling and all. But people have brought that up, and thank you for bringing that up, Nick, to talk about that.
Yep.
Yeah. But I agree here with that Lucy or Irene or Gay Sue would be really, I mean, I'll invite them. What do you think, Nick? Shall I invite them?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I haven't tried them. I've tried other people that have come to mind. So I will put my feelers out and see if we can get them to talk about it. So.
I'll say this. I really don't think there are many people in the world. There may be one or two evil schemers, but I don't think any of these people probably set out to ruin children, right? I mean, whatever decisions they made at the times they made them, from my current point of view, they probably set out to do the best job they could with the data they had at the time. And so I can accept that. And they may or not be willing to see new data, or they may disagree with it or whatever else. But I don't think there's many people out there who say, oh, we're going to screw that next generation. Right. And so I'm not attacking it with, like, it's not an attack. It's like, hey, why did you come up with this instruction, this type of reading instruction? Why have you promoted it? Why do you continue to promote it? What do you think about the other people on the other sides who are saying some of these criticisms of the program? Are they wrong? Do you completely disagree? Do you agree in some? Is it systematic problems? I just want to know. I just want to know their opinion. I'd love to hear it from them.
Yeah.
I'll let the viewer decide if it's wrong or not. I just want to hear why are they continuing to stick with it? It's a valid question.
Yeah, I see Kareem Weaver as that. Thank you for that. Emily Hanford has been advising. I will ask her again to see if she has others from Balanced Literacy that she's talked with. So I'll put that on my list. Thank you for that. I do. And I haven't specifically asked her for that, actually. So I will ask her that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anybody wakes up. I agree with you, Nick, in the morning to say, let's see how we can do bad for children. Sure.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's ridiculous. And so there's a lot of claims of greed and corporate greed. And I mean, and maybe, but I'm not going to go cynical like that. I'm just going to say, look, there's probably people who are indoctrinated into, there's still people who run marketing campaigns for cigarettes. I mean, it's just what it is. I mean, some people still want cigarettes. I wish they didn't, but they do, and so that's just, life is an ever evolving system of human beings getting better at what they do. Science changes, science gets better, hopefully everything else gets better too, longevity, all these things, which I'm also interested in. But, it's, I think for the most part, everyone's doing the best with what they've been given. So I'd love to hear their point of view of why they stuck with it, or why they're sticking to that story when it, in a lot of cases, it doesn't seem like it's still an accurate story. But hey, maybe I don't know why. Maybe they've got a really compelling reason. I'd love to hear it. There's
a comment here, and I appreciate you guys sharing your thoughts here, because that helps me a lot. That's people like you guys is what has really helped me. But Heinemann is the Lucy Calkins and Fontes Pinnell publishing house, Nick. So I can reach out to them.
Yep.
For their perspective.
In a lot of cases, those people are just really reluctant to talk for good reason. They're worried we're going to make them look like idiots, or we're going to, tank their stock, or whatever. And so, I understand that, but the offer is open. I mean, at the end of the day, we do get to control what makes it in the movie. That is part of the deal, right? You gotta, if you want to sit down and share your truths, I won't attack anybody. I'll put your answers in and I won't twist them. But people are, many people, especially in areas like this that are very contentious, they've been screwed before, right? So they're just reluctant. And so, and I understand that every one of these people has a family and friends and a community that, locally and internationally, in case they don't want to lose the respect of. That's just a human element, right? And so I get that. So, we'll just do the best we can.
And I would like to say to everybody here, as well as anybody listening, if you have any connections, that works the best when somebody gives me an email introduction, but with Heineman, with Lucy, with Pontus and Pinnell, any of those people, or if you have any others that you think would be beneficial so that we could get their insights and Nick could interview them, that would be really helpful if you'd share that with me.
Yep. We got a question. Will we share with viewers who declined your invitations? Possibly. I mean, it's always there's always the possibility of the black screen and the, blah, blah, blah was reached out to multiple times and refused to comment. That ends up becoming an indictment, which sometimes is unfair. So I am reluctant to do that unless there's a really good reason to. I'd much rather just have a good conversation with them. And at the very end of the day, let them state their opinion and let the viewer decide if that's a valid opinion or not. It's not for me to decide what the rest of the world should think.
Right. We do have a professor from a college in South Carolina, Paul, I forget his last name, that he's willing to be interviewed. So cool. We've made a little bit of progress with that. So yeah, I appreciate that. All right,
so we'll save the chat as well.
Yeah.
If anyone has any other questions, great ideas, I think we're probably wrapping to a close here. Of course, donate, share. If you have someone who has the ability to donate at a higher level and would love to get involved, please connect them with us. You can find us all at thetruthaboutreading.com. Keep typing in your comments in there because we will save the chat and go back through it. Feel free to email us at any time through the website. It's probably the easiest way to find us. Certainly happy to engage with anybody who wants to help further the cause. John Corkin, I see you being awful quiet over there. You got anything to say?
I just turned my mic on.
Good.
Ready.
I want to I want to say something about Nora. And when we teamed up years ago here and sort of had a dream that we would meet Nick. We didn't know who Nick was, but I would say add to what Nora said about you. That was a beautiful introduction, but it's truthful. But I say thank God for the blessing that the literacy efforts that you're going to have the fingerprints on them. And you said we weren't going to change, but I think we're a cornerstone to this documentary is going to be a cornerstone to a revolution. That's my hopes and dreams and prayers. And Nora has donated so much time. And Nick, you know that too, because you guys, you've been talking to each other and volunteer time beyond her own job. She has another job that she has to take care of, a business that she has to take care of, and she's committed to this. And one of the things I was curious about, the people that are here today, what motivated you to come and visit today and listen to Nick and listen to this team? And I'd like to get a little feedback on that. And another thing I was thinking as we were, by the way, I think we have more than we're going to have 100,000 viewers on our YouTube, and which is, I think that's a pretty good number in terms of getting out there, and that's exciting. The other thing I was in listening to you, Nick, I said we got to can that, we got to edit this thing out, and that is we got to get what you said, because people are really curious about who you are. And I think, Nora, you agree with what he said?
Yep.
So we've got to do something with what you said today and package it and get it out there to the world, because they want to know, they want to hear. We're going to be fair, and we want to listen to all sides, but we represent children. And the teachers are hurting also, and they're important, and parents are hurting. And you know, we talk about and I know you've witnessed this already, Nick, in your filming of this, for adults that can't read, there's a lot of emotion attached to us. And I've said that an adult, and I can say it because I say it about myself, that the emotion that we carry, and it's the emotional, the psychological, the trauma that we've lived with over this, and this secret of shame and embarrassment. It's powerful, but you know, teachers have a lot of emotion too, and hurt, and parents do. We just talked to a parent the other day, just in tears for an hour because a little boy, 10-year-old boy, is not reading. So there's a lot of emotion here, and there's a lot of science that we're going to balance here. And I think I probably have said enough. I'm just so thankful that I recall in the second, third, fourth, fifth grade when I sat in the demo because I couldn't read, so many prayers every day. Please, Lord, let me be able to read when the teacher calls on me. And I didn't get my prayers answered then, but I think my prayers are being answered right now with this venture here. And thanks, Nick, for what you're
Somebody
doing.
shared they're here from South Africa doing a master's degree.
Okay. Well, thanks.
It's a pleasure and honor, John. It's good to know you. And when you meet someone like yourself who's fought so long for something like this, it's admirable, and it's the least I can do. And I'm glad you responded to my response, because that's what I look for. Somebody because it's as you are seeing. I mean, John, you and Nora both. It's a long journey. It is not for the faint of heart. I mean, if someone is not willing to fight a little bit for it, I can't fight it all for them. And it's a labor of love. So I'm glad we're all here together.
I agree completely. And John, you've got a birthday coming up, don't you? This is like your birthday present.
Yes, this is the 5th of December.
Yeah, pretty soon.
I'll be 84 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
I tell people 48.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody gets to be young, John. Only the strong get to be in their 80s. So good work.
Yeah, I'm truly blessed. And my wife just had her 80th birthday. We've been married for 58 years coming up. And we're both healthy.
Amazing. Happy birthday. Lots of comments. See our friend Kimberly Barron's in there. Hey, Dr. Kimberly and everybody else. So, all right, well, hey, we don't want to take more time than we need to. Thank you guys for the kind words all in the comments. And yes, happy birthday, John. You can find us. You can reach out to myself, John, Nora, at any time. Thank you so much, everybody, for even just the support of coming on here. Let us know if you have ideas on funding. We're certainly not closed to ideas on different paths, but we have a lot of those we're considering. If you have someone with a very different opinion than you think we're going to share that would talk with us, especially somebody reputable, love that idea. Thanks for joining us. Nora, anything on closing out?
Everybody will get this recording as well as all the links that are in the thing. So we'll be sending that to you by tomorrow. Thank you very much too.
Share it with others.
Please.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.